So the Advent season, the Christmas season is almost upon us, and it's a very important time of year, a very special time of year. But there are many people, there are an awful lot of people who, for a variety of reasons, find themselves in less than ideal situations this time of year. They're not where they want to be. They're not with the people that they want to be. And then there are other people who have bad memories associated with it because of bad things that happen around the holidays. And if you see this season of the year the way I do, it's a very important time to celebrate, but the celebration can be kind of hard if you're in some of those situations. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that today and hopefully offer a little bit of encouragement to people who find themselves in less than ideal situations. Christmas 2002, I had a near-death experience. I almost died from bacterial meningitis. I woke up on December 17th with the worst headache I'd ever had in my life. It just continued to get worse. It would not get better. My closest longtime friend William happened to call on the telephone, and I told him there's something wrong. I might be in some trouble here. Well, who calls the paramedics for a headache? It turns out that you should, because it could be something very serious. But I didn't. But he offered to drive from his home 30 miles away and drive me to the local hospital, which he did, but I was in the dying process by then, and so I went through a very bad illness that involved a medically induced coma that I emerged from actually on Christmas Eve. And after the fact, I know how bad that sounds. It really sounds bad. But after the fact, I remember feeling so bad about what my closest friends went through during that time, because I got it from them. I got those vibes, and also a few said some things directly about how awful that was for them during that time. And I felt kind of bad about that. And, I know how I would feel if that situation was reversed, so I did feel very bad about that. But I was able to assure them after Christmas Eve that, look, it's over. I've survived. I'm getting better every day now. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to do. I'm getting plenty of rest. It's going to be fine now, so the concern about that is all gone, and I'm going to do what I have to do to get better, and there's no worries about it anymore. I'm sorry this happened. And I had weakness in my legs from being off of them for so long, and I would tire easily, but I did what I had to do to get better. And the good news about all that, as bad as it got, the coma and all that, I did recover completely. And there have been no after effects from that near-death experience. I recovered from that completely, and you wouldn't know that it ever even happened now. So I turned out okay, and I was able to give close people assurance that, look, it's okay now. Everything is good, and I'm fine, and I'm going to do what it takes to stay fine. But, in subsequent years, at Christmas time, I don't even think about that. I just focus on celebrating the season. And I have an extended celebration that actually starts November 1st and goes through the Feast of the Epiphany. And, Christmas, you celebrate the birth of Christ, which to me is one of the most important things that ever happened in human history and made it possible for people to enter into paradise. So in spite of the fact that I had a very bad experience, Christmas is a time to celebrate, and I do. I really enjoy this season of the year. That bad memory is gone, and now I can celebrate that season. But there are a lot of things that put dampers on the season for many different reasons. My friend William, who drove me to the hospital that day, is now an over-the-road truck driver. He's an owner-operator, meaning he buys his own truck. And he doesn't exactly have a home, because it doesn't make sense to own or rent a home when you're only there 4 or 5 times a year. He's on the road all the time. And what truck drivers like that do is they live in the sleeper berth in their truck. They spend most of their off hours parked at truck stops. That's the way it works, and they use the facilities there for laundry and showers and money transfers and everything they need, and they just live on the road. Now, he gets off time several times a year, and some of that is pretty close to Christmas, and he'll come into town. And as far as a home, my place is his. You know, if you knew us, you knew what we'd been through with each other, you knew how closely intertwined our lives had been, you would understand that we're very close, and my home is always his home, and it's a home to him whenever he comes here, and it's always going to be that way, regardless of who likes it or who doesn't. The same goes for his son Christian, who is my godson. My place is their place, and it always will be. But a lot of times, you know, he has to spend those holidays out on the road, out in truck stops, and he does stay in motels sometime. And when that happens, sometimes we'll get on the phone and have an extended conversation, and I'll say, don't just suffer through the loneliness. Do what you can to make the best out of it. Go get yourself a nice motel somewhere. Go get some good meals somewhere. Do what you can to make it good. There's no way you can make that into an ideal situation, but it can be tolerable. It can be okay, even if it's not the best situation. And a lot of people, you know, are in that situation because of their occupation or because of where they are. They can't be with the people that they want to be with. And, you know, it can get very lonely. But I still believe that people should do what they can to make it a positive thing, a good thing for themselves. I often find that in adverse circumstances, I can find some good or maybe do a little bit of good during the holiday season. So go get in a nice motel somewhere, go get some good meals, just make the best of it. Don't suffer in silence. And, you know, a lot of people are like that in different jobs. And there are people who are in the military who go through that. They can't be at their usual home. They can't be with the people that they really want to be with. And I really believe that the best thing to do is to try to make the best of it wherever you are. As I just said a minute ago, I've often found that I can, even in not very best circumstances, I can find some good and hopefully do some good and just not suffer in silence. Get some good meals. If there are people that you get along with, spend some time with them and try to spread some holiday cheer. Talk to people on the internet, talk to people on the phone. Do what you can to mark the season of the year because it's very important. It's a very special time of year. And you can make it kind of good even if it's not the best situation, even if you're not really where you want to be. There are other people who have lost people this time of year, and I understand how that is. You know, once you lose somebody who's been important to you, who's been a big part of your life, after that you just have that harsh reality that they're gone and you're not going to be able to see them in this life anymore. The thing I would say to people in that category is Christmas is a time of hope. If you stop and think about it, Christmas is about the afterlife because Jesus was born in a manger so that he could go to the cross and open paradise for all believers. And one of my favorite songs, Start at the Manger and Go to the Cross. And in that sense, Christmas is about hope in the afterlife. It's about hope in the next life. It's about that hope that you will see people you've lost again in the next life. And that is fundamental to Christmas. And I know it's difficult. I know it's hard if you've lost people who are important to you, but for that reason alone, it's worth celebrating. You know, one of my favorite Christmas songs that came out in the last few years is by the Beach Boys. It's called Alone on Christmas Day. And it has some very wise words in it. I read another story one time called The Sailor's Christmas Gift. And this was a sailor who was far away from home. And he walks into this pub, this tavern. Everybody's in this downcast mood. Everybody's upset that things aren't going their way. And he just lights the place up, you know, spreading all kinds of Christmas cheer among those strangers, and it made it better for everybody. I read in a book somewhere, it's called A Sailor's Christmas Gift. It's really good. But, you know, if you find yourself in a less than ideal circumstance, a less than ideal situation this time of year, I encourage you to think about the true meaning of the season and try to make the best of it. It can be tolerably good, even if it's not ideal. Go do some things for yourself. Do some things for other people. Send some things in the mail. Talk to people on the phone. Talk to people on the internet. Spend some time with people of like mind if you can find them. And go participate in the feast. Get yourself a good meal somewhere, or if there's a communal thing going on, get involved with that. Because Christmas season is about the ultimate hope in the afterlife, a time when people will be reunited with people they've lost. That is fundamental to Christmas. That's a lot of what it's about. And, you know, so don't just suffer. Do what you can, even in less than ideal circumstances. In some circumstances, you can never make them ideal, but you can make them pretty good. And I firmly believe that people in that situation will be much better off if they try to find the good and make the best of it. So, a few thoughts on Christmas and other holidays in difficult circumstances. And wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you have a joyous, peaceful, and wonderful Christmas season.